Actually, I just remembered a shortcut. Theoretically, I could select all of these vertices in the top individually. But I should not be doing a tutorial unless I show you this. If I select, actually, I shouldn't select the vertex. I should select faces. Right? So I select one face with a right click. Notice I press this little button down here. Click the little button. It's the left mouse button. And I can select the linked faces. See, Control L or select linked. And I select all of that. Then, incidentally, this will not work with the vertex selection. You have to use the faces. Right click, select linked. Boom, there it is. Basically 1, 2, 3, 4 steps instead of every single vertex being selected within the area I want to be the end face. So you would say, well, what about if you select all of these and select all the linked? Well, I could do it that way. So shift right click for this face, select linked, and it doesn't select the stuff I don't want it to, if you notice. Now, if in fact we were in a situation where that would happen, then the solution would be simply to assign the material 1 to the top first and then to the bottom and do them separately. That would work just fine, but we don't have to do it this time. So we'll go to the ends material and we assign. Now we will test it. We'll deselect all. We'll select by the ends material. It works. Deselect. Select by the side material. That also works. Now we will do the rim. So how do we do that? Well, because we marked the seams earlier, that's easy enough. Right-click. Notice it deselects everything else if you just right-click without the shift. Select. Linked. And there it is. Selected exactly as I wanted it to be. So then I go down to the rim material. I assign the rim material. Deselect. Select by material to test it. Appears to work fine. Deselect. Select the ends again to make sure that they still work. They do. Deselect. Select the side material to make sure it still works. Indeed it does. Deselect. And as always, I must save my work. Put this in a comfortable position here. I'll also go to vertex selection just because I prefer that. Now we will save the work. And of course the next step will be to do the UV map. Now, to do the UV map, I'm actually going to add some more seams to the model. I mentioned earlier that I more or less forgot to add these earlier for the sides, but I decided not to issue a correction because doing the materials was easier if there was only one segment for the side. See? But this will not be possible to UV map properly if I do not add the seams. And I might as well demonstrate that now, actually. So if I select the side as it is without marking the seams, and we go to Mesh UV Unwrap, Unwrap, and then we go to the UV View, this is what it looks like. And this is not possible to UV map. It actually looks much, much nicer than I expected it to, in fact. But you would have to distort your texture to such a degree that this is not practical. And it could be even worse than this, actually. Whenever you're modeling a cylinder, you want to UV map it. It's necessary to split it somewhere so that you can roll it out. So that's what we will do now. So deselect. Go to the front view. This appears to line up reasonably well, so select this vertex here. Change the view a little bit. Shift right click there. Oh, it's on the wrong side. Okay, try this again. At least know where we are anyway. So we select this vertex, that vertex, and we move on up. And it's probably advisable to split the rim as well, so I'll do that while we're at it. And this vertex is necessary too. Mesh, edges, mark seam, and there it is. Now we will unwrap it again. Again, this will not be the final version of this, but I want to demonstrate this to you. So I will deselect, select by material, mesh, UV unwrap, unwrap. We go to the UV image editor over here. And see, this is something that I can actually make a texture for. Now, perhaps the most accurate way to do this would be to cut the can basically down one side and cut the top and the bottom off and roll it out. The problem is I haven't decided whether I want to keep the can or not. And there may be many situations you find yourself in where you want to preserve your original prototype. So in my case, I opted not to do this. Now, of course, the can is round, so it's not possible to take a photograph or a scan of the whole side without rolling it out. So I decided to do it in segments. So I'll show you that in the next video.